So there's two installation methods. There's an inline installation method, and then there's a non-inline with the use of a web cache control protocol, which was developed by Cisco Systems a few years back. The web cache control protocol, basically what it is you'll add it to your configuration, and then we would go in and put an ACL in place, and then we'll either do a deny or an allow, and we'll redirect that traffic. The chosen traffic would be directed to the WAS appliances for the optimization and acceleration. So the proposed installation again for First Financial would be the non-inline is the proposed methods, and again the benefits are non-intrusive with the current environment, will not create a single point of failure. In an inline scenario, if that appliance fails, then all traffic stops. So that is something that WCCP is of great use. The other thing is no topology changes required. We can install the WAS on whatever networks that are decided between K&L and the IT staff of First Financial. And again, the applications with the use of WCCP, we can choose whether we want to optimize it with the WAS or if we just want to leave it out of the WAS environment totally. And this actually can be from a host-to-host perspective, or it can be from a host-to-network perspective, or it can be from a network-to-network perspective. So with the use of the ACL, we can again get down granular to be host-to-host. We could get down from workstation to host, if you will, and then, or we can encompass an entire network at either end. It's very flexible. So here's a diagram of the proposed topology. You'll see on the left there, you'll see those are your access switches. This is one of the host sites for First Financial. So you see your access switches, that's your user communities, they're on the left. WAS does have a manager. The manager plays the role of, that's where all the policies are changed, that's where applications, ports, protocols are added, if you will. And then the WAS manager deploys to all the WAS appliances at the same time so that we can ensure that our configurations are exact and are the same, because the WAS manager, when he deploys to all the boxes simultaneously. And again, the other thing that would have to be put in would be the ACLs in the 6509 core switches for First Financial, and that's simply again for the redirect, whether we use a network, whether we go to the host level, whatever. So we're going to use WCCP with the use of ACLs to direct traffic, if you will. So as you can see, there is no topology change as we previously stated. We're just adding to the topology. One of the reasons that we wanted to go with the clusters was to not have a single point of failure. Once First Financial will become dependent on these, as we cluster these, it not only gives us additional capacity and additional speed and additional storage, but if we lost one of the boxes, it would not, the performance degradation from losing one box would not be a drastic change. That's the reason for the clusterings, because we will become dependent on them, or First Financial will become dependent on these. So the model we chose for implementation would be the Wave 7541, the K9 at the end of the 7541. That means that it is a security feature set. So any data at rest or anything like this, if we decide, if First Financial decided to employ this into their network, any PCI data or whatever, anything like that at rest, we can encrypt. It's an AES 256 is the encryption that would be used. And you see from the specs on the Wave 7541, it supports up to 18,000 TCP connections. That's simultaneous TCP flows. It has a 2.2 terabyte hard drive with RAID 5. Then it comes with 2 onboard gigabit Ethernet ports. So with 3 of these, it does triple the amount of TCP connections. It triples your storage. So it is you can take all of this and multiply it times 3 for a real feel. Okay, the changes that would have to occur for us to deploy this. Again, WCCP would have to be put in place with the current core switches. The WAS appliances would have to be placed on a routable network in the First Financial network. And then the access control list would have to be implemented, and then we would have to sit down and target what applications are going to be optimized with the WAS. The cost of the proposed solution. The 7541 is a quantity of 6. They're at $49.9 each for a total of $299,400. The annual maintenance is figured at 17% of the retail price, so that would be $50,898. That is a 4-hour maintenance, so that's 4-hour 24 by 7 with someone being on site. So within a 4-hour response time, if one of the appliances fails, someone from Cisco would be on site and have that replaced. The WAS Manager is a software. We would run that on a virtual machine, even though in the diagram it shows a physical machine. Our recommendation would be to go with a virtual machine to where we can have a backup copy of that as well. You can't run 2 active managers, but you can have an active failover scenario. Professional installation services from K&L, that would run $42,000. That includes 2 people on site. That includes all the hotel. That includes meals. That includes everything. One of the things that we thought we should mention would be the training class. There are vendor training classes specific for the Cisco WAS solutions. We would recommend that some of the IT staff go to these classes to familiarize yourself with the WAS solution and moving forward additional benefits and gains that the IT staff might want to add to the WAS solution. So compared to cost of adding a WAS, an additional Ethernet, as you can see, requires a 36-month contract. There's a one-time charge of $7,500 for an installation, and then the monthly reoccurring cost is $12,500 for a total of $450,000. This is for 3 years. The WAS appliances, even though they'll probably be depreciated depending on how First Financial depreciates their networking equipment or IT equipment, would probably either be from 3 to 5 years, but the expected lifespan of these boxes is probably 10 years plus. So at $300,000 compared to $450,000 and $450,000 for 3 years for a circuit, you know, if you went with 9 years, you're looking at, you know, roughly $1.3 million for the Ethernet circuit versus $300,000 up front for the WAS appliances, and then an ongoing maintenance of $50,000. So it'd be it'd be $400,000. You look about $700,000 for a total. So the cost benefit is great. So the conclusion: the proposed solution will satisfy the problem statement defined. It provides additional opportunity for new application deployments, as stated before, such as the virtual desktop environment. It'll enhance the user experience greatly. Again, we've gone from a 200K in a test environment up to 1.5 to almost 2 megs a second with a file copy of all things. The SLAs will be met, so from a contractual standpoint, that's something that needs to happen, and for the most part does happen, but there were certain data sets that we found that weren't being replicated. And then your backups and replication, they're going to finish in a timely fashion. Not only are they going to complete, the ones that are running now that take 10, 12 hours are now going to probably drop down into the 4 to 5 hour range. And ones that weren't completing in a 24-hour span will complete within that 24-hour span. So again, thank you for attending the meeting, and I look forward to getting the feedback, and please go over the project proposal, and if you have any questions, do not hesitate to call me. Again, thank you for your time.